Hi, welcome to the Espace Tricot podcast. I'm Stephanie.
I'm Naomi.
And we're from a little LYS in Montreal.
And this is perhaps our last podcast before Christmas.
And probably the last podcast of the year.
That's true, because both of us are heading off and winding down over the holiday break. Although, if you are local to us and want to pop by, we will be staying open throughout, more or less. So check our store hours online to get exactly the schedule. But I really love Christmas time and the holiday season in the shop. There have been a couple of years where I have been around between like Christmas Eve and New Year, and everyone's still, you know, sort of festive, but also wanting to get back to some treat yourself type of projects, and it's a really nice.
Yeah, it's nice. I find like people are talking a lot about their families and who they're knitting for, so you get a real insight into what's motivating people. And I have a lot of empathy for the people who come in, you know, like that third week of December and are like, I just want to whip up a hat. I'm like, you are my people. So
again, if you are local or if you're coming to visit Montreal and want to stop by, do make sure to check our hours beforehand, because there will be a little bit not quite business as usual, but we're here.
Yeah.
And that's got me thinking about quick knit Christmas projects, but
we'll get to that.
Not to get distracted.
Well, we usually start with a little what am I wearing?
Yes.
What are you wearing?
I am wearing an oldie but a goodie, the Livresque cardigan, which came out last year, and I just tossed it on because it is a bit chilly in here, and I have something more glamorous to show you underneath, but I just needed a warmer layer. This is in the Corrie worsted from Aimée. We have lots of gorgeous colour options stocked up. I used the Avoine colourway with the Shire green, dawn pink and rust orange. I'll pop all the colour names down in the caption.
But you can really use anything.
You really can. Yeah, it knits up to about a DK weight gauge. I've seen some really beautiful creations out there, which always sort of
I know. It's such a funny feeling when you see people wearing your designs.
You picked my pattern. Oh my goodness.
It's lovely.
Very, very sweet. But it's about, I think, here we are. I designed it and I don't even remember, but I believe it is a 22 stitch gauge. So
that looks about right from where I'm sitting. Yeah.
Really cozy.
That's great.
Yeah. What about you?
I am wearing my Octave Sweater. So this was a design for Knitty magazine, I guess around this time last year. And it's this is in Manos del Uruguay Cardo, which is not a yarn we carry, but we do have a store sample version of it as well in Drops Wish. So this knits up really fast at a big gauge, and it has these 12 stitches along the sleeve, hence the Octave name, where you can insert different panels. So there's like, this is the sort of twist stitch panel version here, but there's also a version where you do some color work. Are you gonna go get the other one?
I see it right there.
And there's also a version where you do like crochet stripes, which is Naomi's grabbing that. So yeah, I mean, it's like, this is a heavier sweater, really great for this time of year.
This one, look how it falls. It is just so soft and cozy. It doesn't quite have as much of that woolly spun structure. And it just, I really love the like athletic inspiration of these. I can totally imagine this with like
little Adidas tracksuit.
Totally, with sweatpants or for lounging around. But here it is over jeans as well, and I think that's looking pretty slick. So and
I would say
like
if you haven't started a sweater and you are trying to get one out before the holidays, this one you have the potential to get there because it does go pretty fast. And yeah, it's a fun construction. If I do say so myself, and it's a free pattern.
No, you are correct. It certainly looks like a fun construction. You've got these two panels, and then the sleeves come out this way, so you're kind of shaking up the direction.
Yeah, you knit in all kinds of different directions.
Yeah,
and it's like a free forever pattern on Knitty. So.
Why did you do this? Now I want one.
Well, you could just borrow this one,
or I could just make one.
You could just make one. That's okay. If you borrow this one, then can I borrow the striped warm up sweater forever?
Forever?
I'm sorry, I meant for a little time.
All right.
Saying one day. So yeah, that's what I'm wearing today. But then tell me about the other thing that you're wearing. Are you ready?
Shall I do a little dance? This is the Meet Me at Midnight sweater, which by the time you watch this will probably have been launched. We're planning the launch imminently. And I designed this with the goal of using the absolute most out of a gorgeous, precious skein of Moondrake Fuwa. That's actually a pretty good representation of this color. It's been a really difficult color to photograph and capture. But yeah, that's it. This gorgeous deep green with just a hint like leaning towards blue. So I picked up a skein of this color at the Moondrake Yarn Co. booth at Woollen Folk in sort of surrounding off Rhinebeck festivities this year. It was really lovely to see all that gorgeous yarn, to meet Rochelle, and to just discover this incredible new to us blend. It's 70% brushed cashmere and 30% superwash merino.
And it really feels like a cloud.
It really does. The texture is almost akin to a Suri alpaca and silk blend, but it's just next level soft. But it gives that gorgeous matte, fluffy halo effect.
That's a really good word for it. It is matte.
Yeah.
Instead of being shiny. Yeah.
So here I've got a couple other colors that are a bit brighter, so you can see perhaps a little bit more of the texture there. This is the color Frozen, and this is the color Rose Quartz, which is just the most absolute perfect pale pink.
Yeah.
And this palette is just so much fun.
Yes.
You've got to check out online with all the colors there. There are some gorgeous, like stunning brights, neons, and then these really beautiful, soft neutrals. I have another one to show you later because I couldn't resist another project, but I'm getting distracted because we were talking about the sweater.
Let's get back to Meet Me at Mythic. So we picked this up and you're like, what can I do with one skein?
And I've seen beautiful yokes with fluffy color work. One thought that passed through my mind was the pink velvet from Andrea Mowry that uses a Suri alpaca silk blend, which would be a wonderful way to use the skein of Fuwa too, if that's been on your knit list. But I felt like I wanted even more. I wanted to really feel this texture on my skin because it's just so soft there, rather than sort of layer it together in color work. So I started out with, it's a little hard to see because I chose this dark color.
If you want, you can pass me my whip and I can show it.
Sure.
There we go.
See what I mean about the bright colors in the palette?
So yeah, this was the color I chose. So I have a cast on here. Actually, I have to pick up a couple stitches. Keep chatting and then I'll show.
So there is a collar in just Fuwa on its own. And then I brought in a single strand of Woolstok Light. This is sort of a bit of a slow burn for me. We've had it in the store for several years now, and it just never quite made its way into a sample or onto my needles. But I knew this color reminded me of something, and when I got back to the store and was comparing it, I instantly knew this Midnight Sea color from the Woolstok Light from Blue Sky Fibers was just the absolute perfect match that I wanted.
Yeah,
so
that's amazing.
You see that blue tone coming through them? So what I did was 2 rows alternating to really stretch out this very generous 315 yard in 50 grams skein. And I just kept going with it. I thought, how long will it go? I knew I wanted a much more fitted look. This is a ease of, this is a 36-inch size, which is the smallest, and it's about 3 to 4 inches of positive ease on me. So I definitely wanted that sort of more fitted look with a kind of almost boat neck, but it's a normal crew neck. But
yeah, it's just maybe a ballet neck is what you would call that. I don't know.
Just, a hint of collarbone, but not too wide.
Yeah. So you're not cold.
That's it.
So basically, because I decided immediately to cast one on as well. As soon as I saw Naomi's finished project, I was like, well, I need that too. So I've just started mine. You can see I haven't started striping yet. But basically, sort of the first few inches are just the Fuwa. So you get that cashmere in that spot where you really want to feel it. And then the Woolstok Light is brought in, as you say, 2 by 2 stripes. So that it's just a beautiful blend.
See if I can...
You can barely tell. I mean, it's super subtle.
It creates this really beautifully cohesive fabric. So you can probably tell in the light that there is a striping effect. And a little bit of that comes from the gorgeous subtle variations of this being a hand-dyed yarn, of course.
Yes, and yeah, I'm starting to see that a little bit in my cast-ons. There's some little spaces where the yarn is showing its hand-dyed origins, but I'm really excited about it. I'm definitely loving this, and knitting it is so nice.
It's so nice to knit. I'm using a 3.75 millimeter needle to get a 20 stitch gauge, and you still get really good coverage. I'm not wearing any top underneath this. So even though this is a light fingering and a sort of light to lace weight yarn, the fabric it makes and the fuzz from that Fuwa, really, you can really take advantage of pushing that yardage in a loose gauge to get, and still get a really good coverage. And the striping even went a little bit into the arms for me. And one arm has, the last stripe is just one round of Fuwa, but I was like, I'm not letting one round go to waste.
Well, and that's cool. What I really like about this, the whole concept of this pattern is about taking every single yard of this gorgeous yarn and putting it to work. So depending on the size that you knit, you might have to start striping a little bit earlier, but everybody gets that initial couple of inches of that gorgeous feeling right next to the little sensitive part of your neck and chest. And then from there on, depending on your size, you would bring in this yarn. And then eventually when you run out of this, you just go to knitting with just this one.
That's it. And there isn't too much shift in the fabric or gauge when that happens. You could, even if you wanted to and had some yarn left, you could stop in the body to save some for the sleeves. There's a little bit of, you can always make these sorts of modifications yourself. So this pattern is available exclusively in the kit because it is designed so specifically for one skein of Fuwa. So yes, we have kits, but it'll also be available if you just want the skein of Fuwa and you want to maybe
mix it with something else.
That's it. Mix it with stash, pick up a yarn local to you, whatever that may be. We'll toss the pattern in if you get the skein of Fuwa as well. So we have, this is our plan, these gorgeous colours that we've decided to put into kits. Could just talk about this yarn all episode, eh?
So you can see some of the matches are dead on the way that Naomi's is, and others have a little bit more subtlety to them. So really, once you start knitting, you may decide to increase your stripes, like to add more stripes to it, or maybe you'll decide that you want to fade into just the Woolstok light. But especially this one and the green, I find these are very, very good matches. Oh, and the gray as well.
The gray as well is a really good match. You could even, I put instructions for when to start striping. You could keep knitting and keeping the Fuwa solid and then switch to solid Woolstok light. There's all sorts of ways you could do that. And you were sort of thinking of making that yoke a little deeper.
Well, I have to say, actually, do you have that yarn in there that I brought? So we'll just, we're going to do a seamless transition into works in progress here. So I had pulled this color Burgundy Lion by Tricot Cognac. This is their Cognac base, which is a 80-20 sock base. And I thought that I got a pretty good color match here, and this is right up my alley. So this was what I chose to stripe. But then I got home and started working on this, and was like, maybe I don't want to stripe it. Like maybe I want just once in my life to knit an entire sweater out of this incredible yarn. I mean,
it would be just so special.
Well, so and the thing is, I know that we're always very conscientious, I think, about price point. But I would knit it at an even more fitted than you've knit yours. I would knit the smallest size as well, even though I'm a couple inches bigger than you. And I think I would also do some waist shaping and bring it in so I could tuck it in instead of wearing it sort of more cropped. And I think I could do it in 3 skeins. Is what I'm saying. I think I could get there, especially if I keep it like a little short sleeve.
And when we're thinking about our budget for sweaters, there are so many out there, and like I know this is really a trend to have that really oversized look and a lot of positive ease, which ends up being a bigger sweater for everybody. And I was just, I've knit big sweaters that are big on me, and I really love the look. I love an oversized comfy sweater look, but something like this, it's almost more suited to the type of fabric it creates. To have a bit of a
slimmer fit.
Just having that looser gauge at 20 stitches for a light fingering weight, and recommending less ease. You'll end up using less yarn, whatever your size.
Although at the same time, I'm also like really eager to use this. So I haven't made up my mind. If you want to shout out in the comments what you think I should do, I will probably read them and then do whatever I want anyway. Isn't that how we all And
Absolutely.
it's like sometimes until other people tell you what to do that you're like, no, I actually really want to do. I know what I want.
You can't tell me what to do.
Yeah, exactly. So I luckily I have a couple more inches before I have to decide. So that's what I'm going to be working on kind of through December and into the holiday season.
Beautiful.
Along with, all the other whips I have. But this is top priority at the moment.
That's better. I'm all cozy now. So, I have a work in progress too. I felt very accomplished finishing 2 sweaters in the past couple weeks, the second of which we'll show you in a moment. But I went to Toronto this weekend to visit my family, and I wanted to take along sort of a smaller project that can squish down into my hand luggage and, just pick up and put down when I'm hanging out with family, which is why I put it in the Grande Pochette, because it rolls down so...
Yeah, they're amazing. And then the more you mess with it, the better it looks.
Totally. I love it. So we're still on a Fuwa kit. I am knitting the Ripple Bralette by Jessie May, and I'm just really loving this process. Again, like a beautiful yarn makes even endless 3x3 rib.
So
entertaining. I think this is going to be absolutely heavenly to wear under
like
things all year.
like a cashmere undershirt.
It is literally a cashmere undershirt. So I'm going to, again, make the most of the skein by knitting a little bit longer than the pattern suggests. There's plenty of yardage to do that. Again, this is an excellent project if you just want to pick up one skein of Fuwa for a real treat, or if you're gifting yarn this Christmas. We didn't get around to talking about this in our gift guide last episode because it hadn't quite arrived. But if you're going to give yarn, if you're going to go there, not all of us do. It's a tricky, we all have our tastes. It can be tricky to gift yarn, but this is a real no-brainer if you want to give somebody something they're really going to love knitting with.
Yeah.
There are so many one skein projects for this type of yarn, and this is a really good one. You will need 2 skeins for some of the larger sizes, but you can get really quite far with 315 yards. So I popped this on some TKB cords and tried it on right near the beginning, as Jessie May suggests, because I was like, will this even get over my head? It looks really small, but it did. Trust the process. I did the cast on suggested, which was new to me, and I loved it. It was like my thumbs were dancing, the old Norwegian cast on, and it's really nice and stretchy. So I definitely recommend going with that.
Yeah, follow her directions.
Yeah, or a tubular cast on I think would be a really nice finish on this too, and is nice and stretchy, but I didn't want to fuss about with a tubular cast on with a fuzzy yarn like this. So that's awesome. I love it. I can't wait to see it. And also I love the fact that you'll be wearing it probably under stuff and I won't know that's what you're wearing. Nobody will ever know. I'll just be like,
seems so happy
do you like
today?
my new my new FO?
I have one more whip to show, and I think it's in that little bin next to you.
Oh, just a minute.
Speaking of trusting the process, this is definitely a trust the process knit. Thank you.
Didn't want to spoil the surprise.
This is a little tiny baby penguin. This is by Claire Garland. This is the same designer who went viral with the frog earlier this year, and she just put this out a little while ago, and I just thought I gotta get on that right away. So I actually started this today.
So cute.
The cool thing about these little toy patterns is they do go fast. It is a real pleasure to watch them take shape really quickly, but they are also challenging. There's lots of little details, short rows, increases, decreases, cast on, cast off. So it's really cool. And I'd say this has probably got maybe another hour of work in him, maybe. I think I will get a weight to put in his tail, because otherwise he's going to do this. But I have some sewing weights at home, so that's not a problem. And then he's going to get 2 little wings here, and then little tiny feet in the front here.
It's so precious. I just find Claire Garland's patterns just so deceptively simple. I mean, I'm just distracted now looking at the way the shaping happens around the body, and the way she knows how to make fabric move is incredible. And it's worth taking your time to stuff them properly too, because so much of that character comes from just tweaking the positioning and filling out the curves with stuffing. And then you put on these little eyes, which are new to us.
So we got these, they're basically a shank bead, but they're specifically made to be eyes for toys. And so they have like that really good shine on them that gives them the eye vibe.
Yeah.
So we just got those in and I was like, well, I think I better make a penguin to put them on.
Perfect little size. And if you...
There's 3 sizes of them too.
If you're thinking, ooh, I don't know about detachable bits on toys, if you're intending to gift a toy, they are effectively as secure as buttons. So that's something to think about. Maybe I think the safest thing always, if giving a toy, making and giving a toy to a little one, it's probably easiest to embroider the eyes on. But if you think, we give kids clothes with buttons on and that sort of thing. So
yeah, they say under 3, you should watch it. And the other thing you could do, maybe... Well, something I do sometimes with shank buttons is I knit them on, and then they can't fall off unless the yarn breaks. But certainly getting a shank button on and really getting it secure is possible. Mm-hmm. But I would say in general, like, err on the side of caution. Don't give toys with eyes to kids under 3, and make sure you secure them really, really well if they're intended for kids. So I think we're going to put together some kits for this.
I just want to play with them.
I know. Like, her toys are so good in that way. Like, they have such character.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm really excited to finish up. And when I do, we will probably put some kits together for it so that you can make your own penguin. And really, it's like a few hours. It's great. You can do this. Could be your Christmas morning cast on. Your little project. It's so cute. And I'm sure he'll be joining Gilbert the Frog as our store mascot.
Will he have a name?
I don't know. I think until he's done, I won't know.
That's true. You won't know.
It's so penguins, man. They're hilarious to begin with, let alone a knitted one.
It really does look like Pingu's little sister. So
that's it really at the moment. I think we both feel a little bit like we're leaving room for impulse cast-ons.
Yes.
And getting back to some dormant whips.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I should probably take an inventory soon of what I have to finish. But yeah, around this time of year, I always think that, you know what, half a dozen hats will happen.
That's how I feel. Like there's no question that hats are happening. It just hasn't quite happened yet. But I like leaving the space for those last minute and gift knits, and things will occur to me. Someone will say like, oh, I'm coming for Christmas. And I'll be like, oh, right. Okay. I got to knock out a hat.
Yeah.
And it's nice to have space in your brain to do that.
Definitely. I might raid our kits section for some inspiration, because we have lots of kits right now that we made up specifically for either giving as everything you need, yarn and pom-pom and pattern for somebody else to knit a hat if that's a fun gift to give, but also just so that you've got everything you need to bang out a gift in no time. Few days. So.
Well, speaking of, should we move on to some of our kits and our new stuff and our restocked stuff?
Yeah, I mean, we don't have a lot of finished objects for this episode, but the one we have is pretty relevant.
Yeah.
So,
should we do a snap and I'll put it on?
Yes.
Okay. So here it is. This is the Wavy Gravy sweater, and I'll stand up to give a real look. I love that it's got a little bit of a length to it, feeling groovy, feeling very delight, actually. Kind of want to groove is in my heart in this. So yeah, this is the Wavy Gravy in our own Bon Tricot yarn, the Bonnie DK. So we were a big fan of the sweater when it was published, and then we saw Caitlin, the designer, wearing this when we saw her out walking around Rhinebeck. We were like, well, okay, we got to do a store sample. And Naomi is the one who knit this gorgeous piece, so I'll let you talk about it.
It was so much fun to knit. I tend not to really pay a huge amount of attention to like row counts and things. I'm always just like, I can count that later, and I don't really keep track of them as much. I don't use row counters. I find often than not, I just forget to use them when I try. But this pattern came with the most brilliant charts for keeping track of everything, and I found them so helpful, and I actually was ticking off as I went, because there's a lot of moving parts going on. You've got the chevron building, you've got increases, you've got color matching, it's worked bottom up, so you work the sleeves, which are an excellent way of swatching, because if your gauge is right, then you haven't wasted any time and you keep on going. And if it's wrong, then you start again and it's just as if you knit a swatch. So to make sure everything sort of lines up well. It's just got all the tools you need in the pattern to help you keep track, and I found that really, really helpful and clear, and so much work that had gone into that for the impressive range of sizes that it has. This is the 50-inch, which you are wearing with more positive ease than Caitlin intended.
Yeah, but actually, I really dig it, especially that this is the Bonnie DK, right, that has silk and alpaca and merino, so there's a lot of drape. I think, like we were talking about with my sweater earlier, if you went this oversized, toothier yarn, it might stand up on its own too much. Whereas like this feels a little bit like wearing like a silk dress. Like it's got tons of movement. It doesn't feel bulky at all. Like I feel like I would wear this size.
It is beautiful, but it also looks fantastic and fits fantastically with the intended amount of ease too. And I'm going to pop in a few photos of our colleague Alessia wearing it. And the smile on her face when she put it on, it's just a pattern and a color scheme that just makes you happy.
Yes.
And I was happy knitting it, even though, as I'm sure you'll all know by now, this is so far off base from my usual color palette.
And style. Like it's not it's not something I would see you choose.
I love knitting it. But it's not the sort of yarn I wear.
You really wear.
So I love that I can knit it for a store sample. I love how the colors look on it. And so all that to say, I was really happy to have this sample to knit.
Well, and I'm going to be very happy to wear it around the store and show it off. So we did some kits of this. If you think that you would like a little wavy gravy in your life, you can check out our kits section. We'll link everything down below. And, I think with Naomi's glowing review of the pattern, too. So to hear that Caitlin is coming out of the gate really... I'm not necessarily out of the gate. I know she's done other things, but she is relatively new to the scene and has, busted out with this incredible... complex and very well written. Like to get that review from you, I know that it must be impressive.
Yeah, it's I trusted the process. I wasn't sure that everything lined up around the yoke, but I also think that might have been me getting kind of too into my wavy gravy groove and not fully keeping track quite as accurately as I should have. But what I realized is there's room for leeway. If you're a stitch off here or there and you're not sure whether you've read the pattern right or where you made a mistake, I just kept going, and it still lines up.
No, that's perfect.
And I didn't break my head over it. So
good. That's good.
Yeah, and we were definitely inspired by her original sample in our colorway selection.
So,
but I mean, I was just pulling yarn off so that I'd have something to show you, and I think it would be beautiful in softer pastels.
Yeah, that'd be gorgeous
as well. So it's 5 different colors, but I think it could also be amazing in 2 colors as well.
Yeah, I think it's the kind of thing where you could also you could pull it into your wardrobe.
Yeah, by
selecting colors, whether that's 2, 3, 4, or 5, that are going to make it the most wearable for you with the things you love to wear.
Yeah. You also don't need to mess around with
you can just
what is very well written already. So
cool. Yeah, that's this is definitely an accomplishment. It's a lot of knitting and it's really beautiful.
Well, I thoroughly enjoyed every moment.
So yeah, we have those kits in stock, and we have another kit.
Yes,
it's back in stock after a long absence.
This is something I can't actually quite believe I ever knit.
So this is the Upstate scarf, which was Naomi's design and sample knitting. And as you guys probably know, we're big Swifties. And
only Taylor Swift can inspire me to knit
this much
5 feet of straight scarf. But it just, again, really rhythmic, just kind of flew off. I loved working with this yarn. This is a Plymouth Homestead yarn, just light, woolly, bright, fun, and I really love the fabric that this made. I don't know how clearly you can see, but the rib patterning, I think I got it pretty close.
Yeah, if you zoom in on the Taylor Swift All Too Well scarf, that
like the merch scarf,
merch scarf, it is very close. It's obviously some kind of machine knit.
Yeah, of course.
Whereas this is obviously by hand. But that was we just wanted to recreate it because we know so many people love to knit those sort of zeitgeist culture moments.
Yeah.
Like we do too.
Like the Harry Styles cardigan.
Yeah.
And the Taylor Swift cardigan from Cardigan.
Yeah. Basically it's a Harry Styles Taylor Swift thing at the moment. But so we have a few kits back in stock in the original red, but we also restocked the Plymouth Homestead. So if it's a yarn you're looking to try, or you think that this scarf could work in a different color for somebody, for yourself, it's a really great pattern. Yes, both of us have in common that we do not like knitting long scarves. Love wearing them, don't love knitting them. But you know, there's lots of knitters out there that don't find that. Like, they love the meditativeness of...
And this is an excellent project to, if anyone in your life is begging you to teach them how to knit, this is, I think, a really good first project. It goes fairly fast because I think I did use a 5mm needle. It's an Aran weight, sort of heavy worsted yarn. And you really just get into a rhythm. It can be TV knitting. It can be a really motivating project for a Taylor Swift fan who wants to learn to knit. They will have the scarf to impress all their friends.
Yeah, or maybe somehow miraculously they got tickets to a show.
Well, yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know if anyone got tickets to a show. Are there going to be humans at that show? I just think the AI...
Got tickets to a show in Detroit.
Was it our accountant?
No, but our accountant's also a Swiftie. So anyways, yeah, that's back in stock, and it's obviously people have been waiting for it and asking for it. We wanted to give you guys the heads up that it's there. And we have two other sort of like new things to mention. You know, we did our gift guide episode last week. So I feel like we covered a lot of this stuff, but then this came in afterwards.
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, sorry. Last time.
Last time.
So since then, we got another great little notion that would be ideal for a gift for yourself or for someone you know who knits, who crochets, who crafts. It's called the Knit Kits Notion Case. It's a hard plastic case with a bunch of different compartments. There's a large one here. For us, we were thinking this is great for stitch markers and all like, you know, darning needles, T-pins, the things that end up at the bottom of your knitting bag that are, you know, poking holes or just disappearing on you. And it's this great little sort of palm size. And we really like that it matches up really well color-wise with the coconuts.
Stitch markers and stitch stoppers. It's so cute together.
Yeah.
So that's a really fun gift for somebody to bundle with some coconuts accessories, you know, get them started, or just replenish them because everyone knows we all need more.
They're always disappearing.
So it's a cute little stocking stuffer.
Yeah, so we got these a little while ago. They're already down to just a few left, but we have more on the way. Yeah. So if you don't see them the moment that you're looking, they are on the way very soon. Yeah. And then we have a new yarn on our shelves. So I mentioned the Tricot Cognac before about what I might use in my Meet Me at Midnight. So that is a beautiful sock base. It's spectacularly dyed locally to us. And so here's just a few of the colors, but we really went in for some speckles.
We went all in on the speckles, the variegated, the bright, punchy pops of color that we love so much, which I think just really, the combination of this like gorgeously soft superwash merino and the nylon and these bright hand-dyed colors, they really just enhance each other, and it's possible to get these like gorgeous hand-dyed effects on these superwash bases. So it really just makes the best in both worlds.
You can see some more of the colors here behind me. So this is the cognac here. So we did get some solids as well, but we kind of chose our palette with an eye towards fades, towards shawls, towards, you know, the Stephen West designs, the Andrew Mowry designs. If you want to use those beautiful hand dyes to create visual effects and use the speckles to their maximum, that was our goal here.
But it's also fantastic for kids stuff. It washes really well. We never recommend the dryer, but I have put socks made with this base through the dryer before, and they're still wearable. If anything, it might just make pilling happen more quickly. So we find a lot of people really drawn to these for like bright, offbeat,
fun kid stuff.
Unique, fun kid stuff that you'll never find in a store and that isn't beige.
Or gray. Yeah, kids like color. I know.
They do.
And so, yeah, this is the kind of stuff where you can really impress those grandchildren, the nieces, the nephews, the kids, and be like, oh my God, I knew you were so cool that you could find me this color. So yeah, we love this. And then also we went in for, just to get started, we went in for a few colors of their beautiful hand-dyed mohair. You know we love mohair here.
These are just, I've tried speckling mohair before, and it is very difficult to get the precision and just pops of color that they achieve here. Like the speckles are just really, they're distinct, which is tricky to get in mohair. It tends to bleed, which can be beautiful too. And I love all hand-dyed mohair, but I'm very impressed by how they achieve these effects on theirs.
And I love hand-dyed mohair for the way that, you know, it'll look much more intense in the skein. I think that's always something worth remembering, is that if you are worried that this looks, you know, like too much, in fact, the halo of mohair and the way that you knit it will take it way back once you start working with it. And it's really fun to combine it with either a grayish base or a light base and use that so you get that kind of watercolor speckle effect.
Yes, definitely.
So that's something I'm thinking about using this for sometime soon.
At the same time, if you do really just want that punch of color, we've chosen most of the mohairs to go with the corresponding colors on the cognac base. So this is a sake silk mohair base. And for example,
what's this one?
This is the color Cocoa Moon on cognac and on mohair. So you can pair them up with their corresponding mohair if you want. And like I spoke about a couple episodes ago when I had my Patagonia cardigan, the La Bien-Aimée colorway, when you pile the corresponding mohair on top of the fingering weight yarn, you do sort of get a little bit of evening out. It's not going to be as all pink in this place and all orange in that place, because, you know, sometimes the orange will be with the pink. And so you get, again, sort of a really beautiful, unified, as you said, watercolor effect. Not unified because they're not uni colors, but
layered, maybe?
Harmonious.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
So we're super excited to have this.
All about this.
Have the bar Tricot in our shop. And it's something we're going to be bringing in more colors, more bases as we go forward. But we're excited to get started with this right now. And so, yeah, you can find those. They're on the front page right now of the website, but of course you can find them in our yarn section. We'll link them below. And so much fun. I'm so excited about knitting with this.
I just love seeing them all together on the shelf. We've got the mohair behind me here.
Look at that purple down for a second.
This one?
Okay, so this is kind of where it all started, is Knit City, Montreal. Last year, I bought a skein of this Victoria Harbor, this is the name of this colorway, this periwinkle lilac lavender color, which is, believe it or not, out of my usual, because I usually like really hot purples, and this got a coolness to it. And I think, I was just basically like, we have to bring this in so that I can design something with this color. So I'm really excited to play around with that incredible tone.
And there's a lot of cohesion between the palettes. There's a lot of mix and match that you can do. I think that, mixing a speckled mohair with a different speckled base, or bringing
we're doing
a solid base.
Like our chevron cloud, right? Where you can use, you're using it in stripes and chevroning as well. So you're really, you're helping it blend with the eye as well. So we'll put together some pattern suggestions for this soon, I think, too. Obviously, like the holidays have us all thinking about gift knitting, but I think this is very much more like for me.
Yes, absolutely. And like beat those winter blues.
With some bright colors and some cheer.
Definitely. If you are someone who casts on a new pair of socks on Christmas Eve, I know that's quite a thing. This would be a fabulous option for that.
Yeah,
too.
It is really, like, we know the space quite well, and it really holds up. It's a favorite for all of us, so we're excited about it. So that's that. But then,
speaking of Christmas, that sort of just reminds us about a note that we made to remind you all that the most reliable shipping deadline is probably about the 12th or 13th of December, especially if you're in the States or further afield across Canada. If you're local to us, Canada Post says a little bit later, around the 20th of December. We're skeptical, especially given the 24th is a Saturday. So don't leave it too last minute. If it's really last minute, there's always gift cards. But if you get your order in online by about the 12th or 13th of December, you should be in with a good chance of getting it by Christmas.
Yeah.
So we have
a special
last
event.
announcement.
Yeah, we're really, really excited to announce this, which is that we are proud to host the launch party for Laine 16. So the new issue of Laine is coming out December 16th, and we are having a big party. We have Yona, who is the editor-in-chief and creative director of Laine, who's going to be here. So that's Laine Magazine and Laine Publishing, all the books.
Yeah.
We have Julie Asselin from Julie Asselin's Beautiful Yarns, but also she's a major player in the magazine industry in Canada as well. We've got Sasha Shire, who has a design in one of the Laine magazines, who's going to be with us.
And also in
52 weeks of knits.
Because that's coming out December 9th, so we'll have copies of that still as well. And
then Mona and I are like a special guest, but we've both been published in the 52 weeks.
Your Laine featured designers.
Yes.
And this just feels like, I'm just so excited about this because it is really the first event that we've hosted, and it's a huge privilege and so exciting to be welcoming like celebrity guests like Yona and Julie, who have, Yona got in touch with us when she visited Montreal this summer, and it was so much fun meeting up with her and talking about her vision and the future of Laine and the publishing arm as well as the magazine. So that's just been really exciting to
exactly, and to feel like we're building a connection too, and so we're just super excited that we can be the hosts for this event. And on top of that, the book and the magazine, so 52 weeks of easy knits and Laine 16 are the new things that are going to be launched. But we also decided that we would make a ton of back issues and older books available as well. So right now, if you go in the books and magazines section of our website, you're going to see. Yeah, you're going to see like Laine 1, Laine 2, like the early issues, as well as some of the books that have come out over the years, like Farewell Weekend.
And going kind of further back, like Strands of Joy.
Oh, yeah, which is a gorgeous book.
Like some
contrast.
Yeah, some real, gorgeous books that we don't get a chance to stock all the time. Simply because we're limited on space and they can be a little bit tricky to bring in, but Julie's done a great job getting all of those books available. So we thought it's the perfect time to get those in. And in that vein, we are running pre-orders specifically so that we know how many to bring in. We're not going to be bringing in lots and lots and lots just in case. We'll really be bringing in what people tell us they want. So it's a really good idea. Even if you're not in Montreal and can't make it to the event, you can place a pre-order and we'll ship them out a few days after. So it really is your chance to round out your collection of Laine, perhaps fill in the gaps if you discovered the magazine a few issues into its run. Pick up some of those books that aren't always restocked. Knitted Calevala just got reprinted, so that's an exciting one. But yes, we need your pre-orders to know how many to order, so don't miss out.
Well, and also there's a huge opportunity here too, because we have Yona here, we can have them signed for you. So if you were thinking, well, I'd love to get contrast, but how cool would that be to have Yona's signature at the front? I mean,
she's going to have a stack.
I know, we already have a bunch.
Make her tired.
And of course, if you want to write in your notes too, if you want Sasha to sign 52 weeks of easy knits, if you want Mona to sign 52 weeks of socks, if you want me to sign 52 weeks of shawls, anything like that, if that interests you, we'll do it. I mean, I have some. I sound like I'm like, oh, that's crazy.
Who would want my signature?
But I have some signed magazines that mean so much to me. I took one of my copies around Rhinebeck, and got signatures from people. So, and it really does make it feel super special to have that in my library. So, if that is something that appeals to you, there's a little checkbox right there on your order form or your order to ask for that. So we feel like it's going to be a really fun party in store, but it's a fun party online too. So this is definitely a chance to fill up your bookshelves with things that you might have missed.
Grab some gifts.
Yeah, exactly. And then as far as in store, we're going to stay open a couple hours extra on that Friday.
Until 7 p.m. on Friday 16th. And we'll have our next door unit, which is usually our office. We're going to let you behind the scenes.
We're going to clean it first.
Means tidying a lot. And set up a table so that if you're inspired by the magazines, by the samples, because we'll have the trunk show from Laine 16 as well that's on its way to us. We'll have tons of yarn alternative suggestions because we don't have all of the yarns that the magazine uses, but we have gorgeous substitutes, and you can get started right away.
Yeah.
We'll have somebody
there to help you. Party.
Yeah. and probably some snacks and nibbles and things.
Yeah, little treats to make it festive.
Yeah.
So I know it can be a little bit of a bummer when you hear about something like this happening in a city that you don't live in, but we really hope that the opportunity to pre-order the magazines and books and get a John Hancock on there is exciting at least, and yeah, we're really excited to be able to do it.
Yeah. So
yeah.
It's going to be so much fun.
Yeah, and then, we've got our staff holiday party in the mix there too. So, it's the season of parties.
Getting festive.
Yeah. And, I don't know. It's kind of interesting to think like we're wrapping up our last podcast of the year. It's been a good year.
It has been.
Yeah.
Thanks for sticking with us.
Yeah. Yeah.
I really do enjoy doing this podcast with you.
I know. It's nice.
Yeah.
It's funny. Sometimes we're having like a conversation we had before, which, I'm sure you would expect. Of course, we chat about stuff all the time. But a lot of times we end up having a conversation I was not expecting to have. And it's really lovely.
Often. Yeah, they're not usually planned.
Or they're not what we planned.
Yeah. I mean, it's just something we've spoken about before. This has turned into the time that we take together as friends to talk about our making and our goals and our projects and, outside of the business side of the store and really just that love of knitting that we share.
Yeah.
So.
And so thanks for listening to us do it, and I hope that you've got people out there that you can do this with too. All right, shall we sign off for the year?
I think that's it.
All right, well, happy New Year, happy holidays to you all, and we'll see you in 2023.
Wishing you a very warm and cozy holiday season.
Bye.
Bye.